Hi guys, this is Deviljho, and today, we're talking about buffs for everybody in Monster Hunter World. That's right, you get a buff, you get a buff, you get a buff, you get a buff. Everybody gets a buff. You know, as Bogan main, I am especially excited about the buffs to Heavy Bogan and Light Bogan. In fact, let's check it out right now. No! 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 Well, so much for that idea. Anyway, hi guys, this is Deviljho, and today, we will be talking about the key changes being brought to Monster Hunter World by the Big Spring Update. Yep, that's what I wanted to talk about. Because you know, just like hunting, you gotta adapt when things don't go the way you expect them to. Anyway, in case you've been living under a rock or a Basarios, Monster Hunter World is getting a Spring Blossom Fest update that'll bring a lot of new treats for fans. Now, depending on your time zone, the festival starts either on April 5 or 6 and ends on April 18 or 20. Taking a page from MMOs, the event will include a spring-themed motif at the Gathering Hub, which will be decorated with sakura, or cherry blossoms. As part of the event, NPCs will also get special outfits to add to the festive mood. Other additions include getting 2 lucky vouchers instead of 1 as a sign-in bonus, and the return of almost every previously released event. I know that because in addition to the English disclaimer about exceptions, the Japanese text also has the word hotondo in there, which basically means almost all. Anyway, that means procrastinators and folks with busy lives who couldn't take full advantage of past events can get another chance to do so. Crafting materials for the special Wyvern Ignition Greatsword from the Community Design Contest will also be available at the start of the festival. In addition to the spring event, Capcom is also throwing in some extra goodies before the Blossom Festival even starts. That's because on March 22, we will see the return of the giant, hungry green pickle himself, Deviljho, who will start invading 6-star and 7-star quests. Yep, that guy's been trolling and terrorizing hunters since the Ravenous Beast was introduced in Monster Hunter Tri. Talk about a monster who is eternally in need of grabbing its knickers. You can also unlock a special Deviljho assignment by finishing the Raytheon assignment in the campaign. That'll be your ticket to crafting those oh-so-yummy Deviljho gear, which includes the Wrestling Championship belt for guys, as well as 14 new weapon variants made from Deviljho materials. You know, now I'm feeling hungry too! March 22 also brings an assortment of weapon tweaks which mostly involve buffs for the various weapons. Like, all of them, except for Heavy Bogan and Light Bogan. Did I mention that I main the Bogan? I can feel the sodium chloride taking over me already. So salty. Then again, that's understandable given the buffs to Pierce and normal shots during the slicing shot nerf. Then again, I would have loved to see a buff to elemental shots, unless Capcom knows something I don't about maximizing elemental damage. It just feels a tad underwhelming compared to past games. On the plus side, my favorite melee weapon, the Insect Glaive, did get some buffs, including increased extract attack power and a time extension for extract effects to boot. I especially love the fact that your extract time actually gets put on hold while you're mounting. In addition to how long mounting usually takes now, I used to get really annoyed by the fact that my double or triple ups would run out by the time I finished my mount, which gave me even more reason not to mount as much. I used to only mount monsters during group hunts or wait until a monster is in rage, but this might make me mount more than I used to, especially if I don't have to replenish my extract buffs after a mount. Now on to the other weapons. For Sword and Shield, round slash damage has been increased, while wedge beetles can now be used when using the slinger with your weapon draw. For Hammer, meanwhile, charged upswing stun values and charged brutal upswing stun values have been increased. Charged Big Bang stun values for Charged Tier 3 have been increased as well. Great Sword, meanwhile, just shows damage up, damage up, damage up, damage up, particularly for charge slash abilities. This includes increased damage for charge slash 2, charge slash 3, strong charge slash 2, and strong charge slash 3. All I can say is, if Tigrex ever gets added, he's not gonna be happy. Longsword, meanwhile, gets improvements to foresight slash input timing and hitbox detection. That includes increased time window and hitbox to successfully trigger the foresight slash. Foresight slash also gets increased damage hitbox and an increase in the angle that the player can control as far as the direction of the attack. The patch also fixes a bug with the Spirit Helm Breaker, which now allows you to properly be immune to knockbacks until you land on the ground after you use it. For Hunting Horn, the Encore effect for the self-improvement melody now also increases your attack power. So every time you do that self-buff, in addition to preventing your attacks from being deflected, you now get an attack boost as well. Gunlance meanwhile gets some changes related to sharpness as well as some damage increase. So when you're shelling, the damage parameters have been increased when sharpness is yellow or worse. Sharpness loss is also alleviated for all Worm Stake, Cannon, and Wyvern Fire attacks. Switch Axe gets some changes that makes it easier to use as well. For example, when you do the Zero Sum Discharge, you also get a level 4 Earplug effect. It is also now possible to chain the beginning of Sword Jumping Element Discharge into the Zero Sum Discharge. By the way, the finisher for the Zero Sum Discharge also gets a damage buff. The Mounted Discharge finisher also no longer causes sharpness loss, while the bug for the Zero Sum Discharge has been fixed, so you can now properly be immune to knockbacks until you land on the ground. Charge Blade meanwhile mostly gets buffs, but there are a couple of nerfs in there as well. The English text, for example, says attack power increases from effects other than that of artillery were adjusted, so for the explosions on impact files. However, looking at the Japanese characters here, it indicates that the attack power increase is actually reduced. The stun values for the impact files when doing the super amped elemental discharge has also been nerfed. Other than that, the file stun values have been increased for all attacks other than the super amped elemental discharge. Elemental values have also been increased for all attack files. Lastly, the power element file explosions have been spaced closer together to make them easier to hit. So that one certainly looks more like a balancing act, as opposed to just straight buffs or straight nerfs. Obviously, Charge Blade has been super strong in Monster Hunter World, so it looks like they're just trying to balance it out. For the lance, you now get temporary knockback negation during a successful counter thrust. So the idea is to make the lance a little bit easier to use. Not that it's not easy to use already. Dual Blades meanwhile get changes, so the Demon Gauge is now easier to maintain. The Demon Gauge, for example, can now be increased by Demon Mode Round Slashes and Demon Flurry Rush. They also fixed a bug where you could not cancel Demon Mode when transitioning from a Demon Dodge. For the bow, they fixed a bug where the Spread and Power Shot skill effect was applied twice. They also fixed a bug where you could shoot past the attack's angle limitations when using the Dragon Piercer. Another thing I like though involves the quality of life adjustments that are coming out in March 22 as well. Number 1 on the list is the fact that you can no longer be interrupted while carving. As someone who has gotten interrupted by trolls spamming Hadoukens at carving teammates, this is a very big deal, especially since I no longer have to waste skill slots on abilities for preventing flinching. Thank you, Capcom. Folks who hate being sent back to a Astera single-player area after missions will also now have the option to return to the Gathering Hub, allowing them to get right back to the multiplayer action without having to load the Gathering Hub again. You can also change the game's text size via the Game Settings menu, and there are also optimization tweaks that supposedly make loading times faster. For folks regretting their character choices, you also get a one-time character edit voucher on March 16 that allows you to change your appearance and even your gender. You can't use it to change your name as well as your Palico's name and appearance, but it's still a nice thing to have just in case. Otherwise, it looks like Capcom will give you an option to purchase it in the future as well. And before I forget, you also get the Mega Man collaboration gear for your Palico from April 13th to the 27th. Fokubasta! Anyway, that's it for my preview of what's coming up for Monster Hunter World. So what change or new feature are you looking forward to most? As always, feel free to leave any thoughts or questions in the comment section. Once again, this is Tommy Sodi, and thank you for watching.